Hello everyone, I am Chanchila Tiwari, your friend. Welcome back to my channel. Please share and subscribe to the channel for more videos. So, did you ever answer any question? Of course, you must have been. Questions asked in some examinations, questions asked by our neighbors, questions asked by our teachers, questions asked by our family or friends, and questions asked in an interview by an interviewer. So, which one is most threatening among all this type of questions? What do you think? Which one is most threatening among these different types of questions? Let's try to get the answer of most difficult question, which I thought you might have found difficult. And it's interviews. Most of us find it very difficult to crack an interview. Most of us think that questions asked in interviews are very tough and we won't be able to prepare for them. But trust me, you can definitely be prepared for the interviews. Let's see how we can prepare for interviews. But what is an interview? So, interview is basically a conversation between two or more people in which questioning and answerings are done. One or the group of people may ask you several questions, and you have to be prepared or you have to give the answers. There is an opportunity to present your own ideas, what you think about that question. There is a possibility to place yourself, your own ideas, your personality, your attitude towards the things or the questions or how you are going to handle the things. There is an opportunity to prove yourself to be the best candidate out of all the persons went for the interview. There is an opportunity to present your career objectives and abilities and interests, that how good you are for that particular job. Now let's see what are the different types of interviews. So interviews are of various types, but we will be discussing few of the important types which we generally see, like individual interviews, which is also known as personal interviews. In this type of interviews, there is one-to-one or face-to-face interview in which one-to-one person are there and the interviewer asks questions to the interviewee and they do this question answer session. There is another famous type of interview is virtual interview. This is nowadays more famous than other type of interviews as it is very difficult for everyone to move physically. So different types of platforms are used to take virtual interviews. There is another type of interview which is known as small group or committee interview. In this type of interview, there is a panel of people or experts who take the interviews. There is a assessment interview in which the interview is done in order to assess the work done by a particular person. There is another type of interview which is questionnaire interview in which a series of questions are there about a common topic or about a common idea and the interviewee has to give the answer of those questions. It may be in the written form or it may be orally asked. There is another type of interview which is task oriented interview. Task oriented interview or problem solving interview is that type of interview in which there is a situation given to the interviewee and there is a task given to the interviewee and ask them to complete or solve the problem or the task given to them, and after solving or doing that task the interviewer assess the task so that they can know whether you are able to do the task on time, how you are doing that task, what are the key areas or key points which you are able to handle. So this is task oriented interviews. There is another type of interviews that is known as screening interview. This is the basic type of interviews which is just done so that the crowd can be minimized for the interviews. Very basic and general entry level type of questions are there, and with this kind of interviews people get a with this type of interview the interviewers or the employer want to strike out the peoples who are not eligible for that particular job. On-site or second interview are the interviews which is done after screening interview. When a slot of people is interviewed and they are given the entry for that particular type of job, they get to interview on the second round. There is another type of interview which is known as behavioral interview. In this type of interview, generally the interviewer want to know if some they will ask you about some incident and they wanted to know how you have behaved into that situation from your personal experiences. They want to know how you are going to behave in a situation and how you have behaved in a situation. So they assess your behavior on the basis of the answers you have given or the basis of the behavior which you have performed in your past experience. Now let's see how we can prepare for an interview. So you must be prepared to give the answer that why the company should hire you. So identify the kind of interview which you will be facing. There may be a screening interview, there may be a second round of interview, or there may be a written interview, or there may be a face-to-face personal interview, or it may be small committee panel kind of interview. So you have to understand what kind of interview you are going to face. Prepare few of the possible questions which can be asked in the interview. You might be thinking, how is it possible that I will be knowing the questions? But there are some common questions which generally asked in almost all the interviews, such as about yourself, like an introduction of your own self. So this is a very basic thing which you must be prepared to tell about your own self, about your career plans, what you have thought, what will you do next. If you get that job, what will be your next objective? About your vision, how you are going to work for the development of that particular company where you are going to give the interview, or what are your plans, why you want to do that job. And don't give those silly answers like the salary is very good or the location suits me. How will you handle a situation if such a situation come? That means if particular type of situation arises, how you are going to handle that thing. The interviewer might give you some situation where they will ask you how you will handle that situation. So be prepared for that kind of whatever kind of interview you are going to give. If it is like for managerial post, you might be asked about how you are going to manage a particular type of situation. They may ask you what will be your prerequisites if you have to hire an employee, how you are going to take the interview, what will be your questions. There is another possibility that where do you visualize the company after 5 years. This is one of the most common questions which is generally asked, that where do you visualize the company or the place in which you are going to give the interview after 5 years. So how you are looking the progress, how you are envisioning the work in progress for the company and for your own self also. So you must be prepared with few of these questions. Now let's see what are the things which you must do for preparation. Do your research. Research is very important about the company where you are going to work, about the vacancy which has been published, whether in newspaper or on any medium. You must be clear about the career progression, how you are going to be progress or what will be your next stage of promotion. You must be clear about all these things. About the training which one will get if they get into that job. What is the training period if you are going to get that job? For how long you are going to get the training? Is it for 6 months, 3 months, 2 years, 1 year? So you must assess all these things. You must sort out the extra supportive things which you might need, like your CV or resume if you have to carry it with your own self, your PPTs of your works if you have prepared, your videos if you have any for your works, your working experience details must be handy in with you. Arranging for any sign language interpreter if someone is physically challenged or if they are having some difficulties in walking or something else, those things also need to be told well in advance to the company so that they can arrange the things, or any other type of helps which you might need for the interview. Now let's see what are the focus areas on which you must focus. Brush up on your body language. It is very important how you are going to sit, how you are going to talk, how you are going to do the postures. All these things are very important. Timing is another important element. You must reach to the venue on time. You should not be late. You must respect the time. Rehearse before giving the interviews. Rehearse by looking into the mirror. Rehearse by giving the answers of probable questions which you might get. Rehearse about introducing yourself, how you are going to introduce, what things you are going to include into your introduction while introducing. And for this, you may see my previous video. Figure out what will you wear, because dressing sense is very important for an interview. You should always try to wear formal dresses instead of informal. Shake it like you mean it. If you are shaking the hands with the interviewer, shake it like you really know each other very well. Smile should be there on your face. It's an important thing that will also help you to let go so many which might be going on into your mind. So, in order to hide those things or hide your stress, hide your difficulties, you should wear a smile. Ask questions. It is very intelligent to ask questions. Always, while researching for the companies, prepare few questions which you want to ask to the interviewer. Interview is always an experiencing things to do. So in an interview, it's not necessary that only the interviewer will ask you. They might ask you if you want to ask them something. So be prepared with the particular question which you want to ask them. It will help you for that particular interview as well as for your further interviews. Show gratitude. It's a gesture which you must show, like namaste, or like shaking hands, or like saying thank you, or excuse me, or if you want a glass of water, you may ask, may I get a glass of water? Be polite in your language. Use soft skills during the interviews. Now let's see some of the do's for an interview. What things you must do during the interview. So be on time for the interview. It is very important. Find out the location of the interview where you have to go. Prepare for well in advance how will you reach to that particular place where the interview is going to happen. Don't be late. Try to understand how much time it will going to take to reach you to that particular point of place. Courtesy and respect are the key things which you must do. You must respect your interviewers. You must show courtesy. You must show gratitude. Make an eye contact and friendly expressions. Don't hesitate. Don't look down all the times or don't look here and there. Be thorough in your responses while being concise in your wordings. That means give the answers in details but not too long. Use the adequate words, appropriate words. Organize your answers properly. If you want to take a minute or take few seconds before answering the question, you may take, but organize the state sentences accordingly and give the answers. Sit still in your seat. Don't move here and there. It's not good to move here and there during the interview. Slouching and fizzing is not good. Respond to questions and back up your statements about yourself with specific examples whenever possible. Try to relate the answer with your personal experiences so that the interviewer may get the impression that you might have faced the situations already and you know about the things practically. Ask for clarifications. Ask for pardon if you don't understand a question. You should not get ashamed of asking the questions, or you should not think that, oh, what the interviewer will think if I have not understood the question. There is no harm in asking for the second time what they want to ask instead of giving the wrong answer. Have intelligent questions prepared to ask the interviewer. This is also very important. Always research about the company and prepare a few questions which you would be asking to the interviewer. Evaluate the interviewer and the organizations he represents. Be prepared about the works which the company is doing, or if you know the interviewer in advance, then be ready with what kind of person he is or she is, and then accordingly you have to present yourself. There are few things which you never do in an interview. Don't make excuses that if you don't know the answer, just say that sorry, I don't know the answer. But don't make excuses. Or if you are late, don't make excuses. This and that too silly excuses. Avoid them. Don't make negative comments about your previous employer or professors. This leaves a very bad impression on the interviewer that if you are bitching about your previous employer or anyone else, that means you will do the same in future too. Don't falsify application materials or answers to interview questions. If you know, it's fine. If you have achieved something, it's fine to show it, but don't falsify it. Don't put the wrong things or wrong information about yourself. Don't give the impression that you are only interested in an organization because of its geographical location. The place is very near to your home, that's why you want to do the job. Don't give this impression. It leaves a bad impression on the interviewer. Be ready to work anywhere. Don't give the impression that you are only interested in the salary. This also leads to a bad impression. Don't talk about the money all the times. The In the vacancy, the details of salary must have been given. So it's wise to see the salary details in the vacancy details itself, instead of asking to the interviewer what will be my salary. Don't make the interviewer guess what type of work you are interested in. It's better to let them find it out what you are best in. Don't exhibit frustration or a negative attitude to an interview. Don't show them that you are not interested or you have been frustrated with the interview questions. You are not able to answer them. If although you are finding it difficult, still don't give this vibes to them. Don't go to extremes with your postures. Be calm and composed. Don't assume that a female interviewer is Mrs. or Miss. Address her as Miss. This also leads to a very weird kind of situation. And don't try to find out whether that lady is married or not married. That doesn't matter to you. That shouldn't matter to you. Now, let me share few of the tips which will help you to go through an interview. Be fully prepared about the specific area of work. Wherever you are going to give the interview, you must be very much prepared. Choose your language wisely to communicate. It is important to talk fluently and communicate what you want to say. And in order to do that, you must be fluent in the language and you choose that particular language accordingly. Remember all your works done by you. Generally, in an interview, when we sit as an interviewee, we forget our strengths. We are so stressed out that we do not remember or do not recall what we have done actually. So, remember all the works which you have done. Try to make your interviewer ask you questions of your strong areas of knowledge. Don't try to give answers which you don't know. If you don't know some question, just say, sorry, I don't know. Prepare your presentations wisely according to the probable expectation of the company for which you are going to give interviews. There are few companies which want you to be prepared with PPTs or with videos or audios. So be prepared and prepared according to the taste and temperament of the interviewer or the organization. Try to understand the temperament of the interviewer and the environment as a whole and accordingly give the answers. These tips will help you to crack the interviews. So be prepared. Preparation, 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 and practice, practice, practice are the key for any interview. So let's get prepared for your interviews. I hope this video will help you in preparing your interviews. Hope you like the videos. Thank you for your time. And please don't forget to share, subscribe, and advising for more videos. Thank you very much.